Hello and welcome, wonderful people, to the new year. This is Eye on Port. It is brought to you by Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. Eye on Port is powered by Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Our media partner is the Business and Financial Times. Viewers, to end the year 2024, we had an interaction with fisheries expert Rista Niama Amafield, who gave some recommendations on how the new government administration should approach the management of the fisheries sector. Take a listen.
We happen to have gone into elections, and Ghanaians have spoken. There is a new government coming into place on the 7th of January. The NPP government, by President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, established the Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Ministry. And I don't know whether you have picked signals or information to the effect that that ministry is likely to go in the event, as the new government comes into this. You are well-grounded in this particular sector. What have you picked on the ground?
I'm just a very ordinary fisherman. Well, these have to do with nomenclature. There may not be a Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development specifically, but it doesn't mean that there won't be a ministry with oversight responsibility for the fisheries sector.
Okay.
Because the name of the ministry is just a nomenclature.
Right.
What is important is the policy. I told somebody that if I have my own way, I probably may have placed Ministry of Fisheries or Fisheries sector under the Ministry of Natural Resources. Because fisheries, in the first place, is a natural
Under
resource
the Ministry
activity.
of Lands and Natural Resources? Or separate?
Or probably
natural resources.
Ministry of Fisheries and Water Resources. Rather than agriculture.
Okay.
Because the fisheries sector is a natural resource activity. Fish only becomes food when it ends up on my table.
Yes.
So management of fish itself, or governance of fish itself, had to be done with natural resource background in your mind, because the law establishing the Fisheries Commission, which is Act 625,
Right.
takes its root from the Constitution, which establishes natural resource commissions.
Right.
So the Fisheries Commission is a natural resource commission.
Absolutely.
So it means that governance of fisheries should be more of a natural resource governance than food governance.
Right.
If we have that at the back of our mind, then when it comes to managing the resource, we will do so looking at it as first a self-replenishing natural resource, which is also extinguishable.
Right.
So it can replenish itself, but if you don't manage it well, it will get extinct.
Right.
So you need to create the right environment for the fisheries to replenish themselves. Probably that was what informed the decision for us to start thinking about close season.
Right.
But like I keep saying, you need to do it right to get the right responses. So close season had become a bit of a challenge now. For instance, they said when we do a closure, our fish are going to come back. But when doing close season, the fishes are not coming back. Because you need a mix of management measures, not just a close season, to be able to get it right.
Right.
So a new government probably may have to first do two things. Have a proper fishery stakeholder engagement and talk all the science, talk all the politics, and talk all the social elements.
Right.
Because you need the science to rebuild your fishery. You need the politics to set your policy right.
Right.
And you need the social element to get the human beings in there to understand what the science is saying and why the policy.
Right.
So you need to now have a broader stakeholders engagement and let all the stakeholders understand that we are in crisis. Our fisheries are getting out completely. Our fisheries environment is a mess, and there is no science to support it.
Right.
Probably you were with us in Rhode Island.
Yes.
You saw the Fisheries lab when we went to the
Yes.
East Campus.
Absolutely.
You need a Fisheries lab. You need students to do research with fishermen to clearly understand what is happening.
Yeah.
We need new innovations that takes us into other fisheries. For instance, we need to begin to redevelop our shellfish industry and make them relevant.
Yeah.
So you need a science to guide us. You need to rebuild our crustacean sector, the crabs and the lobsters and the shrimps. We need to redevelop them. You need, and we saw some of them in the lab.
Yes.
There are some fish species that have high export value, but we do not value them so much.
Right.
We need to begin to have a science that will help us now probably have some fish farms.
Right.
And looking around from Mariam area towards the Keta area, we could conveniently have some fish farm.
Yeah.
We need to look at our tuna industry again. We saw the tuna lab,
Yeah.
even though we were not able to enter, previously had entered to see what is in there. To begin to see how we will do some of these things in the lab.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, that you don't really need a fisheries ministry to do it. You need a ministry that understands the policy and gets the policy
Absolutely.
right. And so once the ministry gets the policy right, then you have a fisheries commission that now implements the policy. Because what the constitution established is the fisheries commission.
Yes.
So you now need a fisheries commission that now takes the policy to get things done. Question had come as to, so how do you get the money? I was talking with a few donor people who are also worried about the fact that the fisheries ministry is going, because they have had a number of engagements
with them,
with the fisheries
They
ministry.
started some programs, some projects also.
And I had told them that if I have my own way, probably government would need to do a donor conference and begin to realign their support towards government's own objective of rebuilding the fisheries sector.
Yes.
Because, you see, most of donor funding had gone to civil society groupings or come in the form of technical support. So the donors pay the support to their own people, and they say they provide technical support. And sometimes they take some of our directors and regulators to their countries to give them some capacity.
Yes.
But that capacity doesn't go to the ordinary fisherman.
Right.
So you now need to realign the donor support to government's objective. So you need to probably have a donor conference and discuss with the donors that this is how we want to go. We want to rebuild our fisheries sector. We want to make science the base for the sector.
Yes.
And it's not a type of science where we go to the beaches and take dead fish,
Yes.
but a type of science that is lab-based and that also get the scientists to be on the fishing vessel
Yeah.
to understand exactly what is happening at sea. The type of science that also comes with a research vessel to allow for regular towing with a research vessel. To be clear, what is it that we have and what is it that we do not have? We need a kind of science that also research into tastes of the consumer and try to vary the taste of the consumer in order that we don't over-rely on fish that are struggling
Yes.
to fish that we may be able to produce in abundance so that we could save the fish that are struggling. Because sometimes you need to change the taste of the consumer in order to save your fishery.
Right.
There was a time nobody cared about tilapia. I got to a point, everybody was taking tilapia.
Exactly.
And then you got to a point, you realize that people were going for catfish.
Catfish, yeah.
It means that the consumer's taste had changed. Something triggered it. So we now need, that's why you need the social enterprise.
So whilst the focus is on catfish now, the tilapia will have the opportunity to
Yes. So you now
replenish.
Yeah. So that is where the food bit comes up. That, okay, so this becomes the food.
Right.
So this has the ability to survive. So whilst we're doing that, then you'll be redeveloping what you are losing and bringing them back.
Right.
You need that kind of science. You need a science that helps you to now begin to have mariculture and begin to grow fish. Because when you go to Norway, they grow a lot of fish. Yes,
right.
they have a lot of what we call sheltered bay. We don't have sheltered bay.
Yes.
But like I said, we have a fairly good environment that we could be able to explore and begin to do some mariculture.
Yes.
So that was Richard Ni Amafio. He's also the Vice President of the National Fisheries Association of Ghana and the Executive Director of the Blue Economy and Governance Consult, giving us some pointers on how the new administration should approach the management of the fisheries sector. Now let us hear a few comments you shared with us on the subject after we will go on break and then return with more news. Stay tuned.
Kwamina from Cape Coast says, "Hello Iron Port. Without the ministry, who would handle issues like illegal fishing and protecting our fish stocks?"
There is a Fisheries Commission. The Fisheries Commission is actually the operational wing of the Fisheries Ministry. Under the Fisheries Commission, we have the Fisheries Enforcement Unit, what we call Monitoring, Control, Surveillance Enforcement Unit. That is responsible for enforcement of fisheries laws and is normally headed by a naval officer. Then we have the Monitoring, Surveillance and Control Division of the Fisheries Commission, which is responsible for monitoring, control and surveillance activities of the Fisheries Commission. They are primarily responsible for the observance and enforcement of fisheries infractions. So you do not really need a fisheries ministry per se to ensure observance of the fisheries regulation and the enforcement of fisheries infractions, for which IEU falls part.
Agbe from Keta says, "Hello Iron Port. If they dissolve the ministry, what happens to the support systems for our fishermen?"
The absence of a particular fisheries ministry does not necessarily mean that there wouldn't be a policy direction for the ministry. There will definitely be a ministry responsible for fisheries. And a ministry responsible for fisheries may not necessarily be named the Fisheries Ministry. It could be part of a broader ministry that would have fisheries as part of its mandate. So in times past, we've had a Ministry of Food and Agriculture taking up the responsibility for fisheries. It could be part of a ministry responsible for natural resources, or any other ministry as the president may deem fit to have policy oversight.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP will feel ya, huh? Will be feel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, streetlights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Welcome back, viewers. Now on to some good news from the port of Takoradi and many more for our local news segment. The management, staff and stakeholders of the port of Takoradi have made significant strides in positioning the port as a leading logistics hub for maritime trade and services in Ghana and the sub-region. The year 2024 marked the completion of major infrastructural projects which contributed to a substantial increase in cargo volumes. According to the Director of Port, Peter Amubediakon, by November 2024, the port of Takoradi had handled 9.4 million metric tons of cargo compared to 7.1 million metric tons in November 2023, representing an impressive growth of 32.8%.
But what is significant is that more than 70% of these import volumes is attributed to clinker and gypsum, which together accounted for a total of 2,072,000 metric tons as at the end of November, compared to just 1.7. So, clinker and gypsum, we have established ourselves as the port in the sub-region to handle dry bulk cargo. And this is a testament to the investment that we've made.
Speaking at a stakeholder get-together held at the Port Auditorium ahead of the Christmas festivities, the director expressed optimism about further growth, noting that cargo volumes could increase even more by the end of the year.
Cargo volumes have gone up. Why? Because the sizes of the vessel, especially for manganese and bauxite, have now increased. Previously, we used to handle 180 to about 220 LOA. Now they bring in maximum 300-meter vessels. So the vessels that were previously calling, that would have called twice or thrice in a month. Now one vessel comes and it takes that same amount of cargo and it goes.
The director attributed the success to the collective effort of management, employees, and stakeholders who worked tirelessly throughout the year. He also provided updates on ongoing projects, including those expected to be completed in 2025.
We did our research and found out that the whole of Western North, Western region and Central region, we do not have MRI to help in the effective diagnosis of illnesses of the people in the region. GPHA has decided to buy an MRI and use the bottom of the pyramid approach to be able to enhance quality health service delivery to the metropolis.
He assured stakeholders that these developments will further solidify the Port of Takoradi's status as a key player in Ghana's economic growth. In a related development, the Director of Port, Peter Amobediahun, highlighted the remarkable achievements of the Port of Takoradi during a media session with local journalists. The soirée provided an opportunity to reflect on key milestones and ongoing progress at the port. The Director of Port highlighted the unprecedented hosting of a cruise ship at the Elmina Fishing Port, a business unit under the Port of Takoradi management.
For the first time in Ghana's history, a cruise vessel anchored at the anchorage of Elmina Port, and they used Zodiacs to bring in, if my memory serves me right, over 200 tourist vessels to tour the tourist attractions in Cape Coast and Elmina. It has never happened before, and this was through the collaborative efforts of all agencies, especially the security agencies.
He also noted that in the last quarter of 2024 alone, the port handled 50,000 tons of transit cargo, marking a significant recovery from the declining figures seen since 2009.
Since 2009, we have never handled any significant transit cargo, and especially that of the big bulk, i.e., the back cargo to the landlocked countries of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Through the collaborative efforts, we were able to bring the vessel into the port, bringing in rise of 50,000 metric tons.
The director emphasized the vital role of the media in shaping a positive narrative for Ghana's maritime trade, which he described as having vast untapped potential. He urged journalists to continue advocating for the sector's growth and progress.
The Tema collection of the Custom Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has crowned the year 2024 with an end-of-year Thanksgiving service held at the Customs Long Room in the Port of Tema. The ceremony brought together management and staff to reflect on the year and express gratitude to God for His guidance and blessings. The event was marked by heartfelt worship and fervent prayers, offering gratitude to God and seeking His continued blessing and guidance for the year ahead. Sector Commander Assistant Commissioner Christiana Odi Ej commended the team's effort in exceeding the revenue target despite challenges faced during the year.
As a revenue collecting organization, our year began with a target that seemed unsurmountable, but we made it. Let's applaud ourselves.
Guest preacher, Very Reverend Helena Opoku Sakodi, in her sermon emphasized the importance of gratitude to God in all circumstances, inspiring the gathering to remain hopeful for the coming year.
And so even as we bring the year to an end, even as we gather to express our gratitude for a faithful year, I want you to go home remembering all the things that we have enjoyed from day 1, January 1st, up to now. In 4 days, 3 days, 2024 will come to an end. So if we didn't start well, may God help us to finish well.
Now let's turn our attention to the global stage and pick a few international shipping and maritime related news. Switzerland-based Mediterranean Shipping Company has placed an order for 10 eco-friendly 24,000 TEU LNG dual-fuel vessels at Hengli Heavy Industries in China, slated for delivery between 2028 and 2030. This follows a similar order of 21,000 TEU vessels earlier this year. The expansion aligns with MSC's decarbonization efforts and strategy to replace aging ships while maintaining its global dominance. Currently, MSC operates 880 vessels and has 131 ships on order, representing over 2 million TEU capacity. The container shipping sector continues to see a surge in dual-fuel vessel orders, with 2024 setting a record for new container ship deliveries. Tensions escalate as Houthi-controlled Yemen, the last active member of the Iranian-led Axis of Resistance, continues attack on shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, as well as strikes on Israel. These actions have drawn warnings of severe retaliation from Israel, including targeting Houthi leadership, supply chains, and allies. The Harry S. Truman Carrier Strike Group and the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle are now in the region, bolstering defense and preparing for potential counterattacks. The continued Houthi aggression risks disrupting maritime traffic through the critical Suez Canal, with backdoor diplomacy offering the only alternative to a likely post-Christmas military response. Now, our Word of the Day segment focuses on canal. We'll tell you what we mean by canal. A canal is a human-made waterway that allows boats and ships to pass from one body of water to another. Canals are also used to transport water for irrigation and other human uses. While the advent of more efficient forms of transportation has reduced the need for canals, they still play a vital role as conduit for transportation and fostering global commerce. On today's health and safety tip, we will tell you why it is necessary to take regular breaks.
Take regular breaks. It's important that you always take your regular breaks. The more tired you are, the less aware you are of your surroundings and the more at risk you are for an injury. Take the breaks you are giving on a regular schedule to keep yourself fresh and try to schedule your more difficult task for the beginning of your shift when you are most alert.
Now, time to take a look at the schedule of vessels that have berthed in the ports of Tema and Takoradi and at the anchorages of both ports, as well as those expected in the coming weeks, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rates, which you may need to know to clear your cargo with. This is where we draw the curtain on the New Year's edition of Iron Pot. We hope you've been informed and educated. Remember, all Iron Pot content can be found on our YouTube channel, Iron Port. Subscribe, like, and share our videos. Thank you for watching, and we wish you the very best in the year 2025. Continue to watch Iron Port as we bring Ghana's ports and maritime industry closer to you.